This is what upfield. It's Waddle once again. He's in a big game. It's a touchdown.
Tua is 100 career touchdown.
This is the Vince Faithful postgame show.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Fins Faithful Podcast, post-game edition, as the Miami Dolphins wrap up the preseason with a 14-6 victory over the Jaguars as they get ready now for cut-down day on Tuesday. We're going to get it all into it, take a full reaction live here, and we're going to, kind of see, did anybody hurt or help themselves on the 53, among other things. As always, we're live with you guys on YouTube, so make sure you guys hit that thumbs up, a little bell. It takes a second. Subscribe. And helps us support the channel. Keep the chat floated in the video comments below. We love reading them. All right, so a little late night party here. It's a little late for us boys here. All of us, I think all of us are over a certain age here. I don't know about
That's my bedtime, George. I'm past my bedtime.
All right, so of course I have my co-host and co-pilot as always, Mr. Jason Sarney, Finn Sammy in front of the program, basically a regular on here. But also we have Finn Stanza, Evan of the Fins Talk Sports Network. Fellas, how you feeling tonight about this game? I know we're all at different locations here, but how do we feel generally with this for this game? We'll start with you, Sammy.
Well, what a snoozer, huh? Well, the game started. What can I say? Before last week we talked about. I didn't want to play this game. I didn't want to start this game. Remember, I was afraid that the Dolphins might do some. That's so Dolphins kind of thing, and someone would get hurt. So I was kind of afraid of that. So it's a win when you don't get any major injuries. So in that case, I'm very happy. The offense started really, really slow. Really, I don't know. The offensive line is worrisome, as you all know. But Tua doesn't trust his wide receivers. Malik Washington is the only one he trusts. I think Waddle was in for one play, and he also he said, like, go grab it, boy, because it is what it is. The defense, the pass rush, again, it's just a preseason game. But if you're gonna be hard on the offense, let's be nice to the defense. Let's be nice to the pass rush, because that pass rush, woo, they get it coming, and the fact that just Chubb and Jalen Phillips in uniform, that's a win for me. So at least I'm happy about that.
Hey, shout out to everybody in the chat. Lou, Bobby, Finstock from the Finstock Sports Network. Fins TV's in the house, doing both things, multitasking, Mr. Fins TV. Hey, it's Gloria, a.k.a. Spearfinger. Shout out to her. Big supporter of the show. Much love to Gloria. Hope all is well tonight. Thank you for joining us this little late night Saturday night.
She has to join the show sometime.
I've tried.
George.
We need a first lady of the Fins Faithful, and I've tried. We're working on it.
She must be crowned the first lady of Fins Faithful. George, what are you doing? You need to get her on the show.
Yeah. I'm working on it.
Okay, good.
Evan, your thoughts on this offensive juggernaut we saw tonight?
We all know where I stand on our offensive play caller, don't we? I felt like it was 2019 all over again, where the defense is going to do everything, and the offense is not consistent. And I feel we're going to go into this first game of the year, and it doesn't matter who's there. Tua and McDaniel are going to plan around. Devon A-Chan will be there. Ollie Gordon will be forgotten for a little while.
Me too.
You'll get the ball to Tyreek, but if you're unsure of that, you'll check it down to A-Chan. It's going to be, and he'll get to Waddle a little bit, but it's really, I'm disappointed in the preseason. I'll be perfectly honest, because the weapons that they signed during the offseason, outside of Ollie Gordon, or the players we expected to do something, offensively they were a mess. Tua looks completely inconsistent. He's played in 2 games where he's not looked great. The star of the offense is Ollie Gordon, and when your best player is a 6th rounder, who we believe Bobby was banging the table, everyone was banging the table. He's a great back. He will be good for this team. We need the depth there, but this is what we're getting from the offense. I warned Bobby. Me and Sammy spent 2+ hours together in San Juan finding ways we were going to cook and roast Bobby on how much we're going to rip McDaniel all season. Like, honestly, this is what he has. This was his opportunity to throw so much out there and try so many things on the offensive side of the ball. And it was a snooze fest. It really was a snooze fest. You had your starters out there, and you against backups, against guys who are second and third stringers on the Jaguars, and you couldn't muster anything. So it was a snooze fest. It really was. But I'm not surprised. Let's just put it to you that way. The offensive guy that Mike McDaniel thinks he is, he's no genius to me. He's no genius. So.
No holding back there. A lot to dissect what Evan just said, but
no.
Go ahead, Jason.
I got to work hard to bring some positivity to the group now, but I'm going to give it a shot here. Look, Dolphins get out of there relatively unscathed. I missed a chunk of the game. I missed a little bit of the game, so I know that Eugene Asante went down, but at least that he walked out of his own power. Look, you make a good point, Evan. Obviously we all want to see fireworks. We all want to enjoy ourselves, but you also want to kind of keep things in the back pocket. You don't want to necessarily put stuff on film where the Colts are going to be like, oh, look for that in a couple of weeks. So you know what? I'm going to take things with a little bit of a grain of salt because it was the Jaguars' second unit, not a lot of their starters whatsoever, if any. But you got to love the way Malik Washington is looking. You got to love the way Taj Washington is playing. Shout out to Perfectville Sam, the Washington Twins. I'm so jealous that I didn't come up with that. Sam Marquardt, awesome nickname there. Ollie Gordon, folks. I mean, this kid runs hard. He runs with purpose. He actually looks like he probably would have won a Doak Walker Award, which he actually did a couple of years ago. Yeah. So I love how he can potentially be a major, major contributor. And he's a guy who could play 3 downs if that eventually would be his calling in a year, 2 years, what have you, if H.N. misses time. So you also got to love to see, and then I'll let you guys take over. They started out with Chubb, Phillips, and Chop on the field at the same time. And before you could blink, they all got on the board for at least a half a sack. Chubb and Phillips combined with 1. Chop Robinson started the game with 1. So that gives me a lot of confidence. And everyone already knows this. The front 7 is the absolute strength of this team. So a couple of things you got to be very happy about. I do have a heck of a lot of nerves with what happened in the beginning of the game with trainers walking Jason Sanders to the locker room. Obviously, we'll need to figure out what's going on there. But ultimately, the Dolphins haven't lost in the preseason. We haven't seen an L yet, and they have 2 weeks to get good, healthy, and ready and prepared for the Colts. And Tuesday, 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, is when the 53-man roster will be submitted. So we have a lot of fun in the next couple of days to speculate and see what this team's going to look like.
Yeah, let's just set the stage here real quick. Kenneth, the big guys who didn't play tonight, Kenneth Grant was not out there. We don't know the extent of the injury. He's hopeful he's back week 1. Jordan Brooks wasn't there. Obviously, Tyreek Hill. Here's what's the starting Dolphins offense tonight. Patrick Paul, Savianea, Brewer, Daniels, and Borum on the offensive line. Obviously, Tua, Water, Washington, Westbrook, Akai, Farrell Brown, and Ollie Gordon. All right, so there's a lot there was a few things I didn't like, obviously, with the first. Let's start with the first team, the first few drives. What concerns me, honestly, is James Daniels hasn't played much, and you're starting to see the kind of the cohesiveness, especially on the right side. We don't know who's going to be there. Larry Borum, is it Austin Jackson? They didn't look comfortable out there. And what my biggest concern was, to Evan's point, I started seeing a lot of the things I saw last year with the offensive line, right? The mishaps, the simple penalties, the lack of attention to detail, and a lot of it's the chemistry. I'm the left side. I want to go back and watch Jonah. We talked about Jonah's last game. There's a lot of stuff from his stance to his hand placement to his technique. I'm curious to see how he looked in this game from an eyeball test. He had that one penalty downfield, illegal man downfield, was better. But on the left side, there's 3 guys, and I call it the left side. It's the power element. And there's 2 things that are going to change. If this team has any chance of surprising, Jason, you mentioned the front 7, the pass rush, which looks good, and the power element from the left side of Paul, Savianaya, and Gordon. Them creating, because you saw a lot of Gordon's runs were on that left side. Even though Jonah has some technical issues, we broke it all down with that clip and film on last episode. He does have the ability with Paul to move people in the run game when his technique and his hand placement and his stance and his footwork is right. And we saw a little bit of that tonight. And Ollie Gordon is, you mentioned Doak Walker, Jason. I told you the biggest difference between the 23 and the 24 season was running behind his pads with power and breaking arm tackles and decisiveness. He looks like that guy. And that's big news because he brings a different element this roster doesn't have. But offensive line, right side, James Daniels made a few bad plays tonight. He needs more playing time. And I'm a little afraid with the Achilles. We mentioned it during the offseason. The Achilles is something that you might not be right till the end of this year or back to 100%, maybe to the next season. So is 70, 80% of James Daniels good enough? We're going to find out. And then we don't know who's the right tackle. So that concern me, the offensive line, I'm not worried about. I know, Evan, we're going to talk about Tua. Not worried about that. But I will say, Tyreek Hill looks more valuable. I've gotten on Tyreek, but man, I might be overstating what he means to this offense because even with Jalen out there, it's just all this offense is based on the threat of Tyreek Hill and everything that comes with it. And when he's not out there, you just kind of okay, you know what I mean? So, but I agree. The Washington brothers look good. Malik's the clear number 3 target, and I love the pass rush early on. Front 7 is a clear strength of this team, but I agree with all you guys. But I want to give it back to Evan because Evan had a lot. What do you think? Right? What you said, Tua. What is it that concerns you about this offense with Tua? And I have everybody. I want to ask this question. Should we start being concerned here because second half of 23, or basically all year last year with or without Tua, this offense has not been great. Evan, I'll start with you. How concerned should we be? Like, we're all saying it's preseason, we improved on the O-line, but how concerned should we be?
From the preseason and the games that we were playing, I remember when we signed Tyreek Hill, and it was McDaniel's first year. Let's say 2023. If you all remember, one of the first plays when Tyreek was on the field and Tua was on the field is he bombed the ball. He threw the ball deep and tried to see what was it. Here was Mr. Conservative, and he did the same thing. What I saw today and what I've seen throughout the preseason is Malik Washington is going to become the Jonnu Smith for Mike McDaniel in this offense. That's how I feel. I feel like it went 8 hands there until I can see that they're throwing the balls deep. Tua, as long as Mike McDaniel is Tua Tagovailoa's head coach, who he's always going to be grateful to Mike McDaniel for saving him and building him up. But I've always said part of the reason I don't want Mike McDaniel as our head coach, and I said this at the end of last season, is I think he's actually a crutch to Tua, because Tua will just do what Mike McDaniel tells him. For example, what me and Sammy were sitting there in a Starbucks a week and a half ago, and we were talking about the fact that when's the last time you saw Tua at the line of scrimmage and change the play because of what the defense is giving him? No, he never does that. He never looks to see what the secondary is adjusting to. That's my problem, is Tua is going to do what Mike McDaniel wants him to do. And I did not see at all in the preseason one deep threat from Tua. Like, one deep ball, try it.
Or last season, Evan.
Season. Nick Westbrook, who they're talking about red zone star, 9 touchdowns last year in Tennessee. His best play the entire preseason was a block on Malik Washington's touchdown. That was the number one time. That's the only time I noticed Nick Westbrook throughout the preseason. So my problem with Tua is that coming off the injuries he had last year, he looks like the exact same. We're trying to be conservative, but if this is what he is, and he's not trying new things, yes, you don't want to put anything on film. But last year he didn't put much on film. I make the joke all the time on one of our shows I do with 2 of my guys, Greg and Brett, was the fact that it was check down Tua. That's what I called them. Like, everything was simple, throw to them. That's why I was happy they got rid of Jonnu at one point, because I want them to expand. Like, when the season starts, it better be Tyreek Hill and Waddle. It better be a repeat of 23, where those are your main targets. If you're relying on Achane to be your second or third receiver in terms of catches out of the backfield, and you're going to rely on short little passes, it's not going to work. The other issue I had today, and I'm sure you guys all saw it, Tua is about getting in the preseason, he's not getting the ball out quickly. Because it's the preseason and the star players are not there. But that shouldn't matter. He's an anticipatory thrower And then to talk about in practice this week, what a beautiful pass he made during training camp. Throughout this season, there was no anticipation on his throw. There were no quick releases. He got sacked today. All the quarterbacks got sacked like 6 times today between the 3. There's something there. He looks too comfortable in his job. Like him and McDaniel still seem like they're way too comfortable in their jobs. And like I've said this to everyone, this defense is what's going to save this team, not the offense. Am I worried about the secondary? We all are. But I'm actually way more concerned about the offense on this team than I am in any way, shape, or form of the team. If someone said to me, "Are you more concerned about the secondary or the quarterback and the setup of the offense heading into game 1?" Like Jason made a great point. Maybe they don't want to show things on film, but I at least have to have an inkling of what to see, because with what we saw last season, unless he's coming and developing something that he's hiding from everybody, and he's doing a cloak and dagger, which everyone says, "Oh my God," I don't think this is going to be this could be the type of season they have, where they're scoring maybe an average of 18 to 20 points a game on average. If this team doesn't average 25, 20, 24, 25 plus points a game, they're going to be a much aligned average team like they always are, or they're going to struggle mightily. So for me, my concern is the fact that you scored 14 points, that on a throwing team just the way it was. There were some nice throws from Quinn Ewers and Zach Wilson. Oh, Zach Wilson, I just don't understand. Have you ever seen a guy with an arm that everyone says he has a strong arm? How many times does he underthrow a receiver?
Well, that's all. It's all with footwork mechanics with him.
But that's my point. Mike McDaniel's supposed to be this McGenius, and Quinn Ewers, I think, is doing it on natural talent, but I'm not going to judge him for it yet, because Skylar Thompson looked good in the preseason with Eric Zuzukama in the first year. Remember that game where they were stars in the preseason.
Oh, look at Skylar this year.
Look at Skylar. Hey! Look at Cleveland. Cleveland finished undefeated with 5 quarterbacks. Right? They finished undefeated, right? But for me, my number one concern about the offense is that you can't, in 2 weeks from now, in 2 weeks from tomorrow on Sunday, are any of us here going to be confident in the fact that, oh my God, this offense is going to come out blazing just because we have Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle on the field? Not from what I saw from Tua today, not from what I saw from the offensive line today, not what I saw from the whole offensive scheme, because you should be able to do something, even if Waddle and Hill are on the field, with the weapons that you had today against a second-string team. So for me, my concern with Tua is he's drinking the McDaniel Kool-Aid, and that's what's always going to hold him back. I always said this, the number one thing holding Tua back now, after he got his contract, is Mike McDaniel.
Okay, you make a lot of interesting points. Before I let you guys go, I want to kind of talk on the offense. To me, it's more of I always talk to you guys about the baseball term, the fastball, right? Teams caught up with the fastball, then they started with then they developed the curveball last year, but all they did was throw the curveball, and they never went back to the deep ball stuff. So to me, teams they're not going to change. They're going to play the Dolphins the same way until they adjust, until they show that they have a viable running option. I agree with you. I'm more worried about the offense than I am the defense, because I think that pass rush is going to negate some of the secondary stuff, and that was their plan the whole offseason. So it's crucial for them. That's why we put Ollie Gordon. We had a show. Who are the most important players? Ollie Gordon, because he brings that element of a power running game that they can establish. Tua can eat off play action like he did in Alabama, a power running game, play action. Then teams got to bring the safeties in a little bit. Linebackers can't play 4 or 5 yards deep, and then they can hit that big play. Because teams are not going to change if they're playing light in the box and the Dolphins are getting 1-2 yards running the ball, teams are going to play the same way, and the deep ball is not going to be there. The offensive philosophy has to change for this team to win. Running game, power running game, pass rush, 2 keys. I agree with you. I just don't know. I'm with you, Evan. I don't know if there's all of a sudden there's going to be a green light and the offense is going to be significantly different, because it's been for almost a season and a half kind of the same. The big chunk plays haven't been there. So if, for example, Ollie Gordon comes in and is running with the power he's running in regular season and teams bring it in, then I think they have a chance to kind of the offense to be different. Maybe not as electric and have the numbers, but maybe more effective. I always say substance over style. It's been a lot of the opposite. So I agree with you on that. To me, it's the philosophy. They got to force teams. They have to play chess. They got to force the defenses now to play a little chess with them because they're gonna throw their timing off. They're gonna press these receivers. You said it. It's a rhythm and timing, and it's clearly not there with Taj and even Malik. I think that's part of the reason you're seeing Evan. It's not because it's a lot different when Waddle and Hill are getting open quickly, and he expects them to be there. Those guys you can't expect Malik Washington, Taj Washington to get to the spot at the same time. But all right, Jason, your thoughts. Should we be worried about this offense?
I don't think there's reason to get overly worried or overly hyped at this exact juncture. And I say that for a lot of different reasons. No Tyreek Hill, no Devon Achane. And yeah, of course, we saw some things that we would have liked to have seen better today. But, George, you mentioned the power running component. You got Ollie Gordon, who's looking like he could handle a power rushing component. And when you're going week one against last year the Colts were like a bottom third of rushing yards allowed team. They're not a top defense in that regard. So
a little bit, but not significant.
Of course, but this is also a team that's going in with Daniel Jones, a quarterback, offensively. So the defense could really make this a very easier job for the offense week one specifically. Now, to go back to Malik Washington is going to, and Evan, you said take over a lot of those Jonnu Smith targets. I fully agree that he will probably get the majority of those targets in that slot area, middle of the field, or 8 yards. If you need 6 yards for a first down, get him to the sidelines. It's 7 or 8 yards and just deliver it to him. And one thing about Malik Washington is consistency, hands, making guys miss. And of all pass catchers last year who had more than 15 receptions, he was the leader in a stat called success rate. So whether it's first down, second down, or third down, he's getting the necessary yards at minimum to call a play a successful play. So that tells me more of Malik. And hopefully Achane could be healthy enough where if you're giving him 8 to 12 carries a game, the targets should be around 6 to 8 targets a game. So you're really finishing around 18 to 20 touches a game. And Ollie Gordon should be really the workhorse in the middle, power zone, power gap, whatever the heck you want to call it. He has looked so good in just the way he's running that I would go into the Colt game assuming and hoping that Achane is there. I would want him to be your carries leader, Ollie Gordon. And hopefully if Jalen Wright is healthy, you sprinkle him in a bit too. But let's see if Gordon could help. Right. No, I get it. But let's hope that Gordon can create that, we have to account for the run. And that's when Tyreek can really stretch the defense. Waddle can help there too. I just would really love to see the offense looking Malik, Tyreek, and Jalen on the field at the same time. That could be really, really interesting and intriguing. So these are things that we might see later on in the season as it progresses. I don't care that it was a little bit of a snooze fest. I don't disagree that it was from what I saw. But it's the last preseason game, and I think the absolute goal was to get out unscathed. So let's see. There's definitely things to work on. But they have some things that you can go into week one. Hopefully they're healthy, but you can hope to be positive. So I think that they can sneak out of Indianapolis with a win. And we will know a lot about this team. They are leading. I said this a million times, George. If they're up by a possession, 4 points, 5 points, 6 points, what have you, 5 minutes, 6 minutes to go in the game, I don't want to see the defense trying to win it. I want the offense and the line to push a couple of first downs and run that clock out.
I want them running behind 52 and 72. I cannot wait to go back and watch Jonas film. I can't wait because I want to see if he made that improve. Because there was some stuff we talked about with Curtis last year that was just like elementary, basic things that an offensive line coach should have been fixing with him. And I'm kind of curious to see if they fixed it. But I want them running behind that side with Paul and Sarianaya. And he said 3rd and 2, no more screens to Malik, Tyreek, Jalen, none of that. Run it twice if you have to, 3 times in a row. That's how you establish on this team. And man, I agree with you on Ollie Gordon. He was a Jekyll and Hyde prospect. And this is what you saw in 23. This was the Doak Walker guy. And it's that's a big development, I think, more than anything. All right, Sammy, I've held you too quiet too long.
I'm
Go
good.
ahead. How worried should we be about the offense?
Well, two things. I've been around the block too many times to know that the preseason basically sometimes just doesn't matter. They save a lot. They try to play. You won't see that they're going for two after first touchdown, things like that. Teams usually save themselves. But one thing is undeniable: Tua didn't have a good week. Not at practice, not at the game. So you want to go to the season, being the better self of yourself, but that didn't happen for Tua. So that's undeniable. I'm not gonna make too much out of it because again,
Tua's. I know Evan's gonna kill me. Tua's the least person I'm worried about in this roster.
Well, I'm not worried about Tua.
Yeah. I know he's consistent. You know what I mean?
I'm not worried about Tua. I'm worried about his inability to grow as a quarterback because he's being held back.
Or maybe this is the best. Or maybe Evan, this is the best way to get out his ability out. It's this way. The ball quick, timing. Maybe when he sits there and has 2-3 seconds and has to process, it's not as good. His superpower is the anticipatory skills and the accuracy in throwing to his spot. So maybe this is the best version you're going to get. Maybe there's a ceiling to this offense. I think we're seeing that. There's a ceiling to this offense.
But it went down like this.
Because
someone
you
were to
hit the
tell
ceiling
you,
and they figured it out. What's Tua's ceiling? That's the only question. What's his offense and what's Tua's ceiling? We've seen his floor. We know his floor. Maybe this offense is what gets the best version out of Tua. I honestly think that. I don't know. I saw Jason nodding. Jason, do you agree with me or?
I mean, there's not an agreement or a disagreement in this exact situation here, but
who's your co-host, brother? Who's your co-host?
I'm leaning to what you're saying because what I would like, I don't think we're going to see even close to what the 2023 offense was, because what we need to do is realize that there's more amount of quality skill position players that you could disperse the targets and the yardage to. What I would really, really love to see, to mix with their strength of defensive mindset football, is to control field positions, battle.
As Mike McDaniel stopped Jason's mic. Sam, you finish what you were saying. Sorry, we cut you off. We went on. Evan. When I got Evan on, I could just I can hear you now.
Jason, go ahead.
Go ahead, Jason.
I mean, I don't know if I broke up there, but my point was, it's really nice to see a 70 burger dropped every now and then. That ain't happening with this team.
Those days are over.
I want time of possession win. I want clock control. I want the defense to set up short field potential for Ollie Gordon, the ground game, and Tua can open it up when the defense is expecting one of those Ollie Gordon or short, powerful runs. And you know what? Malik Washington getting these short first downs to move the chains, I think could be a better play than relying consistently on the deep ball.
Yeah, Sammy, you want to finish your point? Sorry, we got off track there.
Basically, it's the same. This is preseason. I'm not too worried about, but Tua didn't have a good week for practice. So to expect him to have a great game, and they were coming at him, and they would not pick up the blitz. Blitz has a free range to do, and at least he didn't get hurt because in a game like that, against superior competition, he's getting hit, and what's gonna happen. So,
but I'm happy with that. Hey, Sammy, when he took off for that run, I was like, oh no, Sammy's right. I thought of you. Yeah. Yeah. Who am I cutting? Shout out Jonathan. Shout out, we got over 100 people on all platforms watching. Come on over to YouTube, guys. Hit that thumbs up. Hit that little bell. Subscribe to the channel. Help support us. We got Jason, Sonny, my co-host. We got Finn Sammy from Finn's TV. We got making a rare appearance, his second appearance.
Anytime you want.
Anytime. Evan Finstanza from our friends at the Finstock Sports Network. Jonathan, you love when I wear the polo, huh? Looking like the strength and conditioning coach, and Jason looking like the play-by-play guy. I love you, my brother. Shout out to you, Jonathan. Love you. We love you too, man. Jonathan always supporting the channel with us. All right. So he mentioned it. Who am I cutting on the 53? Probably a lot of backup offensive linemen. And let's talk about the O-line real quick. I mentioned at the top of the show that they don't seem as a unit. Offensive line, the chemistry. I know. Okay, Evan, you're already chomping at the bit.
No chemistry. You're right.
No chemistry. So I think there's potential for this line to be better, but I'm a little concerned week 1 and 2.
Oh, for sure. Aaron Brewer is your most consistent offensive lineman on that team. Austin Jackson, you cannot rely on him. He's been injured more than Tua. James Daniels coming off the Achilles. You don't know what to expect. Brewer is actually too small to be a center, but he's our center, right? He's the smallest center in the league. Jonas Savaiinaea, I love him. I think he's going to be great, but he has a lot to learn. Like, if you go back, you're going to go watch his tape. On the first play of the game, who got called for a penalty?
Yeah, he did.
An eligible man downfield. He didn't know where he was. He had no sense of where he was on the field. And the problem is that if that's part of it is Patrick Paul. Patrick Paul is good. I have a lot of faith in Patrick Paul, but he doesn't have an experienced guiding person. Last year, Patrick Paul had Teron Armstead. The left guard had Teron Armstead. They had a leader on the offensive line. Here, they don't really have an experienced, all-pro, technical guy who's good in every aspect of every position on the offensive line. Like, if you bring Liam Eichenberg back, he'll be your most experienced guy on the offensive line. Like, you have Brunskill. Braden Daniels didn't know what he had an issue today. Like, there's whoever you put on there, Borum. The offensive line is, like I said, for me, I've always had this conversation on our network. I don't get as concerned about the offensive line as much as others do because of the fact that Tua should get the ball out quickly. Yes. And that's just how our offense is built. But if you want to get short yardage, if you want to be able to do that, you better be using Ollie Gordon. Because if you, like Tyreek said, my favorite line all training camp was when Tyreek said what I've been saying for so long. Why are you using Devon Achane on 3rd and goal and 4th and goal situations anywhere on the field? He should be nowhere on that field. 0. If you want that Jalen Hart last year, great. Matheson would have been there. But if I see Devon Achane anywhere on 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, it will be the number one thing I talk about on post-game shows. Because for me, the offensive line, if you have a power back, you should be fine. You honestly, your power back could make up for a lot of those issues. So for me, the offensive line does concern me from a pass rush perspective, but if Tua gets the ball out quick and they come up with an offensive game plan to counteract that, then I'm less concerned about it. But for me, my only concern of the overall offensive line is that, in theory, Austin Jackson, who's been there since the rebuild with Tua, should be that leader. He's never there. So you're relying on a second-year player on this team at center, typically to lead your offensive line. And that's where I'm concerned, is that you should have a leader and a captain on that offensive line. If they name Brewer, whatever, they don't have a real captain on the offensive line. And every team you see in the NFL, you can name one strong leader on that offensive line, and that's what I think is lacking on that offensive line. And it's leadership, and the fact that you guys all know this last year. Every week, Teron Armstead took his offensive line out and kept them cohesively unified. We have no idea who's running that offensive line. Who is that leader there? That's my main concern.
Yeah, and before you guys jump in, I'm more worried about. I've said this. I'm more worried about the right side, even though the left side's young. I'm actually more worried about the right side than the left side because Daniels. Again, I think this offensive line, if this makes sense, will be better second half of the season. I think Daniels hopefully is getting a little more adjusted from the Achilles. He has more time with. Hopefully, it's Austin Jackson healthy, and then the two young guys have developed chemistry, and Savaiinaea has developed to a point where he's at that level, a minimum level, to kind of go along with Patrick Paul and kind of hoping that dominant side of the run game there. And Aaron Brewer's Aaron Brewer. He's small, he is what he is, but I think Aaron Brewer's fine. I know. Yeah. All right, Sammy, your thoughts, offensive line, how's you concerned?
Yep. Who would have thought we were going to end up missing Liam Eichenberg?
Are we?
Not me. Because that offense, the offensive line is not the best offensive line in the world, but after the starters, boy, oh boy, you can see that pressure, the pressure every single time.
There's not a tackle on this roster behind Patrick Paul.
No, there's not. So if we can talk so much about who we're gonna cut on this team, and you're great. Yeah. You guys are great doing that. But at the end of the day, we're gonna cut as many people as possible or necessary once the cuts on other teams, because if there's a left tackle somewhere that's better than we have, we're gonna get a left tackle. Yeah. If there's a better guard out there in the free agent, the cuts that's better than we have. So, we can do the math all we want, but as far as the offensive line, there's a thing that we're gonna see a lot of people who didn't play at training camp, never been a Dolphin, probably being even active on week 1, as far as I'm concerned, because this back offensive line is just terrible. It's absolutely so.
Before you go, Jason, I think we overstate what really how many people go through waivers, how many people actually you claim you actually get. Not many. Like, I think a lot of players that you release, majority don't get claimed. Like, we're in love with, I don't know, give me even like a Taj Washington, and that's an interesting question. I think he's a tough guy to cut, but like, you'd be more surprised how much a Cameron Good gets picked up before him, because of what Cameron Good does on special teams. And these teams that are cutting players are looking at number 48 to 53 in their roster, and it's not the 5th wide receiver. It's the guy. Well, man, we don't have anybody. We don't have a really good player on special teams, and we need that. Not really even making it on the basic defensive alignment. So that's first thing. All right, Jason, your thoughts. Wrap up the offensive line here. How concerned are you going into the season, week 1?
Fairly. And when I say that, the depth is atrocious, I will definitely say that. And I don't love using these kind of words of negativity. I usually dance around it and ice skate around it. But no pun intended, we're on thin freaking ice with this offensive line. There's no swing tackle. There's no 6th guy, like a 6th man, and I know people are going to say, well, it's Liam. That's a jack of all trade, master of none. So when you look, and this is when you look at, and George, I absolutely love building and projecting these 53s. I've done 4 of them, and each one I've gotten more progressively nervous to do, and I'm terrified to do the one tomorrow.
We're gonna have to do something before the live cut or after the live cut. We gotta do something.
It's going to be a work in progress for the next 36 hours for me. But you look at where the depth is hurting, and you look at who has been performing well. And I know you tweeted, George, Josh Preby. He could slide his way onto this team.
Okay, I'm glad you mentioned him. Yeah.
Oh, you have to.
He made one. I noticed him on the one run on 3rd and long. I think it was Mike Boone. How he kind of moved. He's a guy I've been noticing. He's kind of like, he's really technically sound for a guard, and I've noticed in the last few weeks, he's somebody you put on the practice squad. Like, I don't think you're going to keep him. I think he's a perfect guy. I don't think teams are going to claim him. I mean, watch, New England claims him, but like I don't think he's a perfect guy like Preby. Brayden Daniels, I think he's earned his way on this team. It's going to be interesting, like the cut down stuff. The wide receivers, do they keep 5? Do they keep 6? How many linemen? Jason, I remember you had the extra with the Matthew Judon. You had 10 linebackers and edge rushers.
I took off a wide receiver reluctantly to add to the edge rushing group, because that's, you have to find what's more important and who you could slide through waivers and get on a practice squad. Because there's going to be about 1,200 players who get cut in the next 24, 48 hours. And then, a fraction of that are going to be placed on practice squads. Very few of those cut players will make it on another team to be 53. So we all love our guys. There's 31 other teams and fan bases that love their guys and don't want to see them cut too. So there's going to be a lot of crazy movement in the next couple of days. And hopefully the Dolphins might find someone on a scrap heap. Offensive line, maybe tight end. And I know not everybody, but a lot of people were upset about not going after Brian Robinson for a running back. But you know what? To me,
have Ollie Gordon.
Correct. I have no care in the world
We're
that they
talking
did.
Brian Robinson, not Bijan Robinson.
We're talking Brian Robinson. We're talking not having
Did you
to
see
trade.
that ad, by the way? Did you see that thing on Twitter where the guy picked Brian Robinson?
Yeah, that was horrible.
Yeah, so
That was horrible. But Bijan Robinson or Brian Robinson. But you really have to understand how the rosters are going to be built, and I think the Dolphins could find a running back off the scrap heap if they're that concerned with depth. In 5, 6, 7 days, we hear that the Achane injury is very bad. I'm not saying it is. We have to hear if it is. The right injury, how is it? Aaron Champlin, Mike Boone could maybe pop up for week 1 if they need to, with Ollie Gordon being the man. Let's just see how that materializes. But I'm looking at, offensive line for sure, tight end, cornerback, and maybe running back for them to be in business in the scrap heap when people are cut.
Go ahead, Sammy.
yeah, I just want to make sure because I like to tease. I like to pull George leg. So I want to be clear about this.
Oh boy.
Over under 1.5 claims for the Dolphins. So you say under, right?
Under 1.5.
I'm going over.
I go
You're
2
gonna pick
claims.
up
I go
two.
2 claims.
So okay, now you're going 2 claims. Okay.
No, but my point is, more of my point is, you were so worrying about cutting guys. 99% of them are not going to.
Everybody goes through that, sure.
Yeah.
But the deficiencies are too big.
And,
the back offensive line is too thin. The tight end room sucks, and we keep losing defensive backs as fly. They're falling as fly. So by that time, might be even 3. They might like
I think at least
win the secondary on other
but
teams.
here's the thing. Here's my other point. This year they're 13th probably on the waiver claimer. You might claim 3 guys but only get 1. Put it in
Absolutely.
That's the other thing. Things have to work out. Your guys got to fall through, which most of the time is going to happen. And then on the other side, you have to make sure the teams in front of you don't want that guy. So you claim 4 guys, you might get 1. You might get none. You'll get at least 1. But that's kind of my point on that. But point well taken, Sammy. All right, so quickly, the Taj Washington, would he make it through waivers? Yes or no? I'll go around the room. Evan.
No.
Jason.
Now here's the deal. He had a very nice. He had a very nice preseason. But when teams want to look at the tape, he was IR'd last season. So there's no regular season action for a team to say, what did he do? So is it a little bit of a Russian roulette if you send Taj through the waivers? Yes, I think he'll slide through. Now, if you cut a guy like a D. Eskridge, there could be a needy team on just literally special teams that says, you know what, I don't like my return man, so I could bring in this 5th or 6th guy on my wide receiver unit to be my return man. D. Eskridge covers 3 positions: wide receiver, punt return, kick return. So Taj Washington, at the moment, has 3 games of preseason where people are going to say, do we want to cut someone on our 53 and bring this kid up? So I would, and if we lose him, we lose him, and I'm sorry. But I would roll the dice with Taj over D because of the multiple usages of D.
By the way, D. Eskridge, he didn't do himself any favors to me. He had 2 drops. He had 2 inexcusable drops to him.
One from Zach
Wilson.
But you're not wrong there.
Let me throw this question in this scenario at you guys.
He didn't do himself any favors to him.
How about this? Malik Washington returner, Taj Washington wide receiver number 5.
No. I don't want, as much as I was impressed.
Just throwing it out there.
Look, I'm so impressed with Malik Washington, and he was even being taught on how to hold on the sidelines by Jake Bailey, because we'll talk about Jason Sanders.
Worst field goal attempt.
Did Mike talk about Sanders' injury or anything? I'm posting him looking it up.
I have to see about that, but the trainers escorted Sanders off the field. Maybe he had a tight hamstring. Maybe, I don't know. No. But you don't want that can of worms. But I would take, and this is another strength of D. I need Malik Washington, in my opinion, to be that 3rd receiver on this team and to not risk hurting him on a return. You can use D. Eskridge and maybe if Taj is on the team, sure, but I don't want Malik being a consistent return man when he needs to really be a chain mover for this team and get a little bit more target-wise on the offense,
Adrian, what happened with Jason, he was walked with the trainers to the sideline. We don't know the injury. Mike's speaking now. We're on air, obviously. If anybody heard if Mike gave an update on any of the injuries, let us know in the chat.
If you want to go to sleep, go listen to Mike McDaniel.
Yeah.
That'll be more of a snooze fest.
One of the us, right? One of the us.
But let me ask you something. If Malik Washington is your third receiver, why did you sign Nick Westbrook? Because is he a red zone target?
I think it would have
absolutely right.
I think the Jonah role. I think
I have an update.
Breaking news.
Takes off fees extra. Despite not kicking tonight, Jason Sanders is expected to be available for the season opener versus Indianapolis Colts by Miami Dolphins. So
he'll be available.
Whatever happened, might be a tightness or something. They prefer
Listen, he said, what did he say? Keon Smith has trade interest. What was it? Who was the guy who had trade interest this offseason? The teams were calling him about Ethan Bonner the year before.
Call Isaiah Wynn? Anyone want Isaiah Wynn? Anybody?
Oh boy!
Imagine that again. Isaiah Wynn shows up.
I'm glad you mentioned the NWI situation because let's go back to Jonnu Smith. And I know we're talking to tight end, and we're going to name 3 other positions here. Yeah. We're making up for him in the aggregate. So and we've touched on this, George and Sammy, when you're 20 to 20, when you got that area of the field, I think that could be any one of them: NWI, HN, Malik Washington. But when you get inside the 10. That could be Darren Waller, NWI territory. Now, NWI has not earned enough trust in Tua just yet. I think Malik Washington has that trust leaps and bounds over him. So when you have more of that field to work with, I would think Malik Washington should be targeted more. But you want to have a little bit of size inside the red zone and inside that 10, and that's where Nick Westbrook-Akine should do really, really well. He has like 11 touchdowns inside the 10 in his career, so that's when I might not necessarily need to see Malik. But when you're at like your own 40 and it's 3rd and 3, Malik Washington's going to be the guy to get that first down, if not Tyreek, if not Jalen, if not HN in the slot. So time, place, and area of the field for me. I think if you look at the guy who could have 5-6 touchdowns, it could be Akine. It could be on 15 catches, but if you're looking at who's going to get the majority of the repetition and the targets, that's Malik Washington.
Yeah, we've talked about this many a times. As the field shortens, his role should get bigger and he becomes more impactful because I just don't think he fits this offense inside the 20s. He doesn't get off the line quick enough. He's just not. You got to be in this offense. You got to be at a spot because Tua throws to a spot. That Evan and Sammy and Jason, and you got to be there. You got to be there before the defensive back. He just doesn't fit that. He almost was brought in to kind of run the same routes that Jonah ran, but it's. I think Malik's
it's early.
Yeah, I think Malik's going to get the majority of those catches, but as we get that red zone, he could get the. Put it this way, Malik could get the catches Jonah got. NWI can get the touchdowns Jonah got.
Well said.
If that makes sense. All right. We're at 48 minutes. Let's wrap it up quickly here. Defense was good tonight, guys. Most of it. Anybody on the defense, the pass rush was good. Jordan Phillips got in early for Grant. That shows a big sign. He's going to play a lot. We'll start with you, Evan. Defensively, what did you think tonight?
Defensively, I think everyone did a great job overall. Like everyone stepped up and did what they had to do. The one player who I thought was on the bubble, but I guess maybe he isn't anymore. Cameron Good didn't play tonight, so I think Cameron Good is set. When they were looking at the list of players they might keep on the defensive side, I think their special teams is too important, even though he's coming off an injury. Channing Tindall, a guy who everyone thought was good for dead. 8 tackles, 6 solo, 1 tackle for loss. Like for a guy who we all thought was out to the scrap heap after 4 years. Oh, yeah. I think he's on this roster. I think they're going to find a spot for him because he can also play special teams. So a guy I thought before today's game might have been on the bubble, like Patrick Morris, I think is on the bubble. Cam Smith, I think he is. I like him. I think he might be. I'm not even sure about Mike Hilton. Mike Hilton, who knows what they'll do in the spot?
I agree with you on that.
Mike Hilton could be gone.
Wait, Jason Marshall Jr. We showed you the one. They even. You know what's funny on the broadcast?
The broadcaster said it.
They mentioned the one play that we broke down on our show that
Yes,
showed
sir.
that he didn't miss a tackle tonight. But I think they got plans for him to be the slot guy. That puts Mike Hilton's job in jeopardy.
Yeah.
I
Yes,
agree
it
with you
does.
on that, and I don't agree with you on Channing Tindall.
There's-
Some of those tackles, he got carried with.
I know, but
I
have a
think
feeling
Tindall.
if he gets cut, no. What the most interesting part is about for me about this cut coming up on Tuesday is the stranglehold Chris Greer has on this roster. Because if Channing Tindall's still here, if Cam Smith is still here, if McMorris is still here, and players like that, that means that he continuously holds on to his draft picks, even if they're not. Like I would probably cut Channing Tindall. I would probably cut Cam Smith. But if they're still here, that means Chris Greer basically tells Mike McDaniel and Anthony Weaver, "You're not cutting any of my draft picks," which ends up hurting the roster.
Cam wasn't bad tonight.
But the one player that really I feel bad for is I'm happy with the Matthew Judon signing. The one player that has impressed me the most on the defensive side of the ball for the entire preseason has been McClendon.
Yeah.
If McClendon gets cut, he is picked up like that. So he's the one player for me that I think, for me, watching him play throughout the preseason, is the one player I feel like has elevated himself the most on the defensive side of the ball.
I would agree with you there. McClendon has really done a lot to make a 53. If not the Dolphins, absolutely waiver wire addition.
Yes.
Channing Tindall now, we all saw Eugene Asante get hurt today. I don't know the
Is that
severity
tears?
of it.
Are those tears in your eyes?
I'll be all right. But Eugene Asante is a guy with his undersized, undrafted, I guess, valuation, pedigree, sure, whatever you want to say. He could slide through to the practice squad. I would not be worried very much about Asante getting through to be practice squatted and maybe even elevated later in the year. Cameron Gooden's another one of those guys who, is very important on their special teams as well. Something I wanted to bring up, Dante Trader Jr. did not dress tonight. I think, and this is purely speculative, very rarely shown throughout the preseason and training camp. Maybe they're trying to slide him through as a strategic cut and bring back to the practice squad. I don't necessarily think many teams would be jumping.
I think they would. I think they would.
I
think you're looking more at. I think you're looking more at stashing him on the IR kind of thing.
They only have two of that.
I know.
They only have two of that, which would mean that Ashton Davis, they'd have to pretty much start on the team. Now, I know he was. Were you at practice on Thursday, George?
No, I didn't make it. No.
All right. I know that he was out there, but I don't know how ready he is if you want to get him on. Because a couple of weeks ago, people were thinking that he was going to be IR. Now, Patrick McMorris is a guy who is a fringe player. Sure, could you get away with getting him on the practice squad? Because the guy who's going to make the team is Elijah Campbell because of his special teams work. That is for sure. So there are about 5 to 6 guys who are in that 50 to 55 or 56 rank on the roster. And you make another good point, Evan, with Chris Greer maybe saying you're not cutting one of my draft picks. But then the question is, are you not cutting my draft pick who hasn't done much from 2022 or 2023, or the guy I drafted last year or this year? So there's going to be some interesting questions, and there are some fun dilemmas to have in building this team. But I also don't think that the Dolphins can get away with trading one of these fringe guys for any type of capital or return whatsoever. So guys who I do think we're going to say goodbye to are your Eric Ezukamas out there. I honestly do not see Cam Smith making this team over who? But Mike Hilton, to bring back up Jason Marshall Jr., you're asking a kid who covered premier talent in the SEC, who did well and was drafted as a 5th rounder, hey, Jason, go try the slot. And he's been looking good in the slot. Now, if you don't remember, everyone, or I'm sure you do, there was a boundary undrafted cornerback who they just converted into a slot, and Nick Needham had a heck of a year or two as a slot corner. So they've tried to do this, and Jason Marshall Jr. has the size and the ball skills, maybe not with the interception, so to speak, but also the tackling ability to maybe be a starting slot, thus maybe creating a reason to not hold on to Mike Hilton, which may make something easier, like a Derek McClendon on the linebacker group, or like one of those safeties that might be on the fringe. So the Marshall/Hilton scenario is really something to look at, and I wouldn't be surprised if Mike Hilton was an in and out.
Yeah, he hasn't been doing that well since he's got here. Just to let everybody, the starting corners tonight were Storm Duck, and I should have mentioned this on the top of the show.
And Jack Jones.
Jack Jones. With Jason Marshall starting in the nickel.
Yeah.
So, and this was kind of a dress rehearsal for the Dolphins. This was their dress rehearsal. So, just saying. All right, Sammy, finish us off here with the defense. Take us home.
Well, you can see the defense is so much completely different to the offense. They look more disciplined. They look more prepared. If you ask me, they look solid. The pass rush, basically, if the pass rush is good, the corners are going to look better than expected. But you can see the difference. It's night and day. The defense look prepared. They look ready. They look disciplined. Yeah. On the good side, of course, they didn't have too many penalties on offense today. That's a good news. But again, I do believe that the defense the Dolphins are gonna go where they think they're gonna go this year. The defense is gonna have to be huge for them because the offense is still the work in progress, as always is, with the penalties, with the movements, with the offensive line leaking. So if the defense is gonna have to take this team, they're gonna go anywhere this season. But at least they look disciplined. They look good. So I feel good about that.
All right, so we're going to end it here. We're trying to get under an hour for the first time in a while. Quickly.
That's not going to happen.
Quickly. I'm going to ask you. Give me a surprise cut. Evan, surprise cut.
Surprise cut?
I had one. I forgot.
Jason, anybody around?
Mike Hilton.
Mike Hilton. You took mine.
Yeah.
I'm gonna name a guy just for lack of a new name who might be a surprise. And this just goes into what have you done for me lately? If you're really looking to save in other positions and you got to find one linebacker to cut, if I'm using the word surprise, Quinn and Bell.
Ooh, I like that one.
That's a good one.
That's a good one, Sonny.
I mean, because listen. I'll if I'm looking at the board, if I'm pretending the GM and I'm looking at the board and I'm looking at other positions, McClendon versus Bell within that position, I'm going to go with the guy who's hot versus the guy who just hasn't done anything after showing a little bit of summer spark last year. Am I going to sacrifice a Maybe not. Am I going to sacrifice a corner? I don't think so. So that's my guy. The surprise.
Sammy, you got one?
I had one before.
I sprung it up. Mine was going to be Mike Hilton. I should have mentioned Mike Hilton because that kind of refreshed Constanza. But a couple of the guys we talked about.
Want another surprise one? I won't be surprised if he gets cut tonight. Will be Diestridge. I would keep Taj over D. I did not like what I
we talked about this scenario of them Malik's
return. You don't have to play George. If he still had Julian Hill has not played the last 2 games. Okay. There's no Dolphins fan.
Farrell Brown. My other one, Farrell Brown. Farrell Brown.
No, Farrell Brown staying. Julian Hill.
He's staying because of what?
Has not played for 2 games. Okay, what has he proven at all? Diestridge played tonight. If Diestridge from his first 2 games and practice just looked like he was a starter on this team, would make this team. He didn't do himself any favors tonight.
I cannot have a tight end room with Julian Hill and Farrell Brown. Let's end the show on that. I just cannot, fellas. All right. So before we get out of here, Finn Sammy, what's going on in Finn's TV? Let everybody know what you got coming.
Well, we're back on Tuesday, September the 2nd for our season premiere. We're gonna be on Finn's TV Plus and FTSN on Thursday nights with the controversy of the chapel. We're gonna be looking at the Sunday's game, and I'm gonna be the pregame show with that guy over there on FTSN, the pregame show.
Both of you guys are going to come on our postgame show. We're doing a postgame show after the game this season. So you guys both are always welcome if after the show, if you want to jump on. I always send you guys a link.
I'll be there with one for sure.
Jason, we already know what you're doing. You're with me. You're stuck with me. We got some stuff going on. Monday. Sorry, Jason. Monday, we got something cooking. We don't know yet. We'll leave it there.
We got a couple of things on the burner.
If not, we're going to give you our 53-man, our famous 53-man projections live on air Finn Stanza, what you got going on?
I'll be back starting hopefully this week and regularly on Finstock Overtime on the FTSN. You'll see me producing. You'll see me jumping in on all the different shows. And when the season starts, you'll be seeing me and Bobby Finstock. Whenever there's a game, whenever there's an announcement, we will be there. So,
all right.
All
right, so we're looking forward to follow those guys. And if you're on this channel, guys, make sure you give this video a like on this post-game show. The Dolphins win 14-6. Preseason's over. We start the season week 1 versus the Colts. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up, hit the little bell, the subscribe button, and follow all these fantastic gentlemen we have on the panel tonight. For Jason, for Evan, for Sammy, for myself, fins up, fellas. We're out.